All right, here we go. We're going to do a quick Hello World for HTML using Visual Studio Code. So here I am in Visual Studio Code. The first thing I want to do is kind of navigate to the directory that I want to make this code. And in the process, I'm going to end up making a folder to kind of store the files in. So two ways that you could do this. You can hit Open Folder. You could also go to File, Open Folder, and effectively accomplish the exact same thing. So I'm going to do that. Now, I have since moved my CSR folder, like the program or the folder I want to kind of save everything, and I'll explain why in just a second. But it's under C drive, users, and then WE Hub is like my username. Here I have made a CSR folder, which is where I plan on putting a lot of the code. And if I open it up, there's nothing there right now. Okay. Let me talk to you about why I've gone with this directory, right? C drive, users, WeHub, CSR. In the future, we're going to be using command prompt. What am I talking about? Well, if you do CMD, right, in Windows, this brings up this terminal. This is effectively the console where you can type in commands directly. What I want you to notice is that Windows by default is using C drive, users, WeHub. Now from here, we get to change directory, right? CD is change directory, and I can change directory to my CSR folder. And now I'm in that folder in my terminal, okay? So the reason why I have switched to using this directory, C drive, users, WeHub, and then CSR is because I'm going to have a lot less to type. If I try to open up another command prompt, right, it's opening at that same spot each time, C drive, users, WeHub, and so it's a quick change directory to get to my CSR folder. So in my CSR folder, I'm going to make a new folder. Let's call it Hello World. Doesn't matter. I'm going to create that folder. I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to select it. And what that's going to do is that's going to put us in that directory in the Visual Studio Code environment. And so I'm ready to make my HTML file. So I'm going to hover up over here. You can hit this new file icon. Of course, you could always go to File, New File. Okay, I like using the icon over here because it gives you the opportunity to name it right away. We're going to call this index.html. You may have seen this before, right? People use index.html for their web pages, and let me quickly explain why. Hello, I would like a tab over here. Why don't we do like a new window then? Firefox, you let me down. I'll just pull the whole window over. Okay, if you go to Google, right, just google.com, what's actually happening when you request that URL is it is going to look for not just google.com, it's more specifically looking for index.html. HTML is the file that like houses all this stuff, right? This is effectively like the landing page for any website. By default, all of the browsers, whenever you request this URL, what they're actually looking for when you say google.com is index.html. Okay, so that is kind of the default landing page, which is why we end up using it, right? Even the apps and websites that we make in the future, they're all going to have an index.html because that is the effective landing page for your website. Here I am. I got my file ready. The fact that it is labeled as an HTML, right? It's got the file extension HTML. Visual Studio Code knows this is an HTML file. So when I start typing out HTML, you'll see why in a second. I'm going to select HTML5, and this is the IntelliSense, and it's going to plug in all of this stuff. This is the HTML kind of skeleton. Pretty much every HTML file has this stuff. It has a head where metadata goes. It has a body, which is where your actual stuff goes. This HTML indicates this is an HTML file because keep in mind we could actually like type this out in Notepad, and as well as this little document here. This is actually a comment in HTML. It starts with an exclamation mark. So this is just my skeleton. Most of this stuff we're not even really going to pay attention to. What we're most interested in is the body because that's where the relevant stuff tends to go. And to finish out this Hello World, what I'm going to do is plug in a heading tag. You might remember this one. This is a big boy. We're going to say hello world. And there it is. Okay, this is actually made an HTML file. This is something that we can launch in a browser. I'm going to navigate to that folder. Right here I am in the CSR folder. Here's the Hello World folder that we made. There's my index.html. By default, this is going to try to launch in Chrome. Let's do that. Hello World. The title of this window is document. This H1 was from us doing that. I'll show you both those spots in our visual code. Right here's our title. If I save that and I go back to my file and I tell it to refresh, right up here in our title, we see the Hello World. If I change what's in this H1 tag to maybe Hello YouTube, and again I'm saving it, I'm hitting Control S in order to save. We can refresh and see that there. Okay. HTML is going to be an important part because keep in mind the whole reason we're working with JavaScript is to kind of modify HTML. So we're going to end up embedding JavaScript directly into these HTML files. So it's important to know, how do you even make one? I'll see you in the next one.